Jaguar Wright didn't just drop a bomb, she dropped the list. The real list. The one Netflix pretended didn't exist. The one 50 Cent somehow moonwalked around, like he had diplomatic immunity in the middle of a Diddy-sized hurricane, and the question everybody is scared to ask is the same one Jaguar screamed into the internet like a warning siren nobody wants to hear. How did 50 Cent walk out of the biggest documentary scandal of the decade without a scratch, when everybody else got roasted alive? Why was he the untouchable one? Why was he the invisible one? Why did Netflix treat him like he was a witness protection program instead of a participant? Because according to Jaguar Wright, who has made a career out of telling the truths, the industry once cremated this documentary wasn't a documentary. It was a list-cleansing operation, a narrative laundry service. Show these people, blur those people, and pretend the rest don't exist, media wash cycle. And somehow, mysteriously, magically, suspiciously, 50 Cent never even entered the dryer. Tonight, we're opening the vault. Tonight, we're reading the true list. Tonight, we're exposing why 50 Cent escaped the Diddy documentary, and why that might be the biggest red flag of them all. Jaguar Wright's new explosion didn't hit the internet like normal gossip. It landed like someone dropped a truth bomb right in the center of Manhattan. And the very first name people saw sprinting away from the blast? 50 Cent. Yes, the same 50 Cent who loves making documentaries about everyone else's life, exposing their scandals, dissecting their darkest moments. But when his own file even threatens to open, the man disappears faster than a ghost switching off the lights. Jaguar's claim isn't light, and it's definitely not some old-school diss track energy. It's a direct, unfiltered threat disguised as a confession. She said 50's name wasn't just whispered in the background. It was allegedly written on the true list. The list nobody talks about. The list people only acknowledge with silence. The list everyone in Diddy's orbit supposedly knew existed. And Jaguar says 50's name was right there, just sitting on it, waiting. Now the biggest question everyone is screaming across social media is simple. If 50 Cent was truly innocent, then how did he manage to escape the Diddy documentary at the exact perfect second? Coincidence? Timing? A lucky break? Or was something else pulling the strings behind the scenes? Jaguar's point hit people like a slap. Because 50's history in Diddy circles has never been squeaky clean. The man has never been far away from those infamous parties, those mysterious private jet weekends, those late-night events where cameras weren't allowed and NDAs were passed around like appetizers. And Jaguar is now looking the world dead in the eye and saying the quiet part out loud. 50 wasn't just near it. He was part of it. That alone sent social media into meltdown mode. People are saying 50 didn't step away from the documentary. He ran, he survived. He predicted the storm. They're comparing it to a strategic disappearance, like he saw the iceberg before everyone else and swam out of the Titanic before the orchestra even started playing. Jaguar even said this wasn't friendship between 50 and Diddy, it was a transactional convenience. Two powerful men orbiting each other, using each other when it benefited them. And when the first massive cloud formed above Diddy, 50 immediately wrapped up the documentary and moved on. No explanation, no transparency, nothing. Which is not normal for a man who usually can't go 10 minutes without trolling someone online. Jaguar claims he backed out because he got the message, literally. A file, a warning, some kind of sealed envelope type situation that made him see exactly where this scandal was heading. She says there was a real list with real names, and 50's name was sitting on it right where no one wanted the public to look. Just that idea alone has turned public speculation into an absolute volcano. People are connecting dots they didn't want to connect. 50 has always had the survival instinct of evolve, the same instinct that carried him through rap beefs, business wars, and TV rivalries. But Jaguar says this time, that instinct wasn't protecting him from a rapper. It was protecting him from exposure. And that's what's making people talk. If a man is clean, he doesn't hide. Clean people stand center stage, control the narrative, drown the rumors. But 50 went full mute. Full ghost. No jokes. No trolling. No means silence. That's not normal. That's not his brand. Even insiders from the documentary team, again allegedly, said something felt off. Supposedly, whenever sensitive questions came up, 50 would avoid them, like he was doing mental math in his head, figuring out how much he could say without blowing up his own spot. Then, suddenly, documentary canceled. Just like that. No closure. No explanation. Just Gone. Jaguar is calling this behavior exactly what she believes it is, fear. She says there are tapes, messages, late-night receipts, private rooms, private flights, and private conversations. She's not saying 50 is front and center in all of them, but she's saying he's always around the edges, always in the frame, always close enough to raise eyebrows. And now people are wondering if Jaguar not only lit the match, but also dropped it straight into a room full of gasoline. Fans and haters are both saying the same thing now. This could become the biggest challenge of 50's career. If even one piece of evidence drops, the entire trolling superhero persona collapses instantly. Everything he built, the jokes, the memes, the "I expose everyone" brand flips back on him. And Jaguar is implying that all of this was predictable, that 50 sensed his time coming and dipped before the spotlight turned around. According to her, his clean image isn't clean at all. It's a shield, a shell, a carefully managed piece of PR that is now cracking. She said people don't know half of what 50 was involved in. And now she's teasing that the world is about to find out. Whether she's right, wrong, delusional, or holding a nuclear truth bomb, nobody knows yet. But the internet is locked in. And once this kind of suspicion begins, it doesn't stop. It snowballs. It chases, it sticks. And 50 Cent might be discovering that running doesn't solve everything. Sometimes running just makes people wonder what you're running from, and that's exactly where things get darker. Because the moment people started asking what 50 Cent was running from, suddenly new whispers started surfacing online like they'd been waiting underground for someone to wake them up. Anonymous accounts began posting old photos, blurry silhouettes, private jet manifests, and vague sightings that put 50 closer to Diddy's orbit than he ever admitted. And every time someone posted something even remotely suspicious, the comments exploded with one word: list. Everyone is now obsessed with the so-called true list, the secret file Jaguar swears exists, the one that directors, producers, and even high-profile insiders supposedly avoid like a cursed object. And the fact that Jaguar is pointing straight at 50 and saying he was on it is turning this entire scandal into something bigger than Diddy himself. People who used to defend 50 are confused. People who hated him suddenly feel validated. And the ones who stayed neutral? They're now watching like spectators at a boxing match, waiting for someone to throw the first knockout punch. Meanwhile, Jaguar is doubling down. She's not backing off, not softening her words, not correcting herself. She's going on live streams talking like she's holding the combination to a vault no one wants opened. And the way she talks, with that calm, unsettling confidence, scares people more than the accusations themselves. Because Jaguar doesn't deliver her claims like a conspiracy theorist. She delivers them like a woman who knows exactly what she saw and exactly who she saw it with. She says the Diddy documentary wasn't canceled because of production issues. It wasn't postponed because of legal complications. According to her, that documentary was killed because too many names on that list belonged to people who still had power. And she claims 50 was one of the names with the most to lose. That's why people are side-eyeing the sudden silence from 50. They know his personality. They know he lives for drama. They know he's the type to hop online and clown people within minutes. Yet this time, nothing. No jokes, no disclaimers, no troll energy. And people are asking, why is the loudest man in hip-hop now acting like he lost his voice? Then came the biggest twist, an alleged production assistant from the documentaries. Early stages posted an anonymous message saying that certain footage could not be used because it implicated individuals who would destroy the network legally. The message didn't say names, but people instantly connected it to Jaguar's rant. It didn't help that the assistant also mentioned a rapper turned media mogul who allegedly requested all raw footage involving him be scrubbed from the final version. And the internet only knows one rapper who fits that description perfectly. The speculation didn't need confirmation. The narrative had already taken off like a jet hitting the runway. Jaguar poured gasoline on the fire by saying certain NDAs were suddenly reactivated. Old agreements that had been collecting dust were allegedly pulled out and enforced again. Lawyers started circling like sharks. People involved with production suddenly stopped answering questions. And Jaguar claims this wasn't random. She said when she speaks, she knows the industry listens, not because they respect her, but because they fear that she spills something they don't want exposed. She believes her exposing 50's alleged connection forced the industry to clamp down fast, before anyone else dared to say more. Meanwhile, fans are digging through 50's past interviews and finding moments where he dodged. Questions about Diddy, one old clip resurfaced, where a host asked him directly if he'd ever been to one of those infamous private gatherings, and 50 joked his way out of it, pivoting the conversation. Back then it seemed normal. Now, people are replaying the clip like it contains hidden clues. Every pause, every smirk, every deflection. And the internet detectives are treating it like the Zapruder film of hip-hop scandals. Then comes the wildest detail. Jaguar dropped. She said 50 had access to certain parts of the documentary before the public ever heard about it. Not because he was producing it, but because he needed to protect his interests. That phrase alone has been dissected 1,000 ways. Some people think she meant he wanted to make sure the documentary didn't paint him in a certain light. Others think she meant he wanted to know what accusations were coming so he could prepare. And a small group believes she meant something even darker, that 50 had dirt on Diddy too, and the documentary risked revealing a mutual silence agreement between them. Now the narrative has shifted from, was 50 involved? To how deep was he involved? And Jaguar keeps adding layer after layer like she's peeling back a story she's been dying to tell. She said some names on the list weren't celebrities, they were investors. Executives, political figures, people who move money, not music. But some names belong to men who pretended to be above it all. Men who positioned themselves as moral voices. Men who built public brands on exposure, justice, and calling out corruption. Jaguar is implying 50 was one of those men, a man who exposes everyone but shields himself, and now the public is questioning everything. Why did 50's documentary stop? Why did he fall silent? Why did insiders scatter like roaches when the lights turn on? Why is Jaguar speaking with this much certainty? And if she's lying, why isn't 50 shutting her down? Why isn't he laughing this off like he laughs everything else off? That silence is the biggest clue of all. That silence is the biggest clue of all, because 50 Cent has never been known to sit quietly in a storm. He's the guy who throws himself into chaos just for entertainment. He's the man who will pick fights with entire communities before breakfast. But here, nothing. Not a joke, not a meme, not even a passive-aggressive Instagram story. It's like someone unplugged his personality, and the internet is watching him like a deer pauses in a clearing right before the wolves jump out. People are whispering that maybe 50 isn't staying silent because he wants to. Maybe he's staying silent because he has to. Jaguar Wright's accusations didn't just hit him. They pinned him to the wall. She turned him from the narrator of the culture into a suspect of the culture. Now, everything 50 does is being reinterpreted. Old photos are resurfacing. Memories are being revived. People who once brushed off rumors are suddenly saying, wait a second, maybe there was something there. And the craziest, this video? Industry insiders, people who usually stay invisible, are now chiming in anonymously, saying 50 wasn't just close to Diddy's world. He was a regular in it. One anonymous insider even claimed 50 attended certain parties undercover, with the type of privacy that only comes when the host trusts you. And that trust, according to Jaguar, wasn't friendship. It was shared secrets. Then comes the jaw-dropping detail Jaguar hinted at. She said 50 Cent allegedly knew about certain scandals years before they became public. She said he didn't just witness things, he predicted them. She talked about a specific moment, a conversation, an exchange that allegedly happened before the documentary ever existed. According to her, 50 was given a warning, not from Diddy, but from people above Diddy, people she calls the architects, the ones who decide which scandals get aired and which ones get buried. And Jaguar says 50 took that warning very seriously. He stepped back. He rerouted. He made business decisions that looked random at the time but now feel strategic. And all of it was apparently connected to the list. The list has now become the internet's obsession. People want to know who is on it, how many names it contains, which names were removed, and who had the power to remove them. And Jaguar says the most dangerous names weren't erased, they were simply hidden. Buried under NDAs, buried under corporate partnerships, buried under creative differences, clauses. And she claims 50's absence in the documentary is one of those buried points. Not accidental. Not a decision made for artistic direction. A calculated omission created to protect the wrong person. People are debating the idea that maybe 50 didn't abandon the documentary to protect Diddy, maybe he abandoned it to protect himself. And when people look at the timeline, the theory starts making too much sense. Right when allegations started surfacing publicly, 50 backed away. Right when Diddy's world started cracking, 50 shifted his focus to something else. Right when insiders started whispering that the documentary had too many sensitive names, 50 stopped talking about it completely. That kind of silence doesn't come from boredom. It comes from fear. And fear in Hollywood always means the same thing. Someone knows something that can destroy you. Jaguar took things even further, saying 50 might have been offered a deal. Not a legal deal, but an industry deal. Stay silent, stay uninvolved, stay out of the frame, and in return he keeps his empire intact. That includes his shows, his partnerships, his streaming deals, his corporate relationships, everything he's built brick by brick. Jaguar said if his name ever officially lands in the public version of the list, that empire collapses faster than a house of cards in a thunderstorm. And suddenly 50 Cent's silence doesn't feel strategic. It feels like surrender. Meanwhile, fans are dissecting his every move. He posts a picture of a car. People ask if it's getaway symbolism. He posts a gym selfie. People say he's stressed and working out his anxiety. He posts nothing at all. They say the pressure is getting to him. The man can't breathe without people interpreting it as scandal-related. And honestly, that's the price of building a brand based on exposing others. The moment someone exposes you back, the world watches eagerly. Jaguar isn't stopping either. She keeps hinting that she has more information. She keeps teasing new details. She says she hasn't even scratched the surface yet. And every time she speaks, the internet gets louder. More people join the discussion. More theories emerge. More clips resurface. More dots connect in ways that make you uncomfortable. It's like she opened a door 50 desperately wanted to keep locked. And now that it's open, everything is spilling out whether he likes it or not. The scariest part is Jaguar's confidence. She doesn't talk like someone guessing. She talks like someone remembering. She talks like someone who saw receipts before the world knew receipts existed. And when someone like that targets a man like 50 Cent, the fallout is unavoidable. People are already questioning if this scandal could grow big enough to pull in federal agencies. Because once NDAs, corporate documents, financial transactions, and hidden partnerships get involved, it stops being entertainment. It becomes investigation. And investigation is the one thing 50 never wanted directed at him. Now the world is watching. They're waiting. They're collecting. They're screenshotting. They're preparing for a domino effect. If one person leaks one file, one message, one photo, one timestamp, 50's persona, his public image, his entire digital empire could flip upside down overnight. That's why the silence matters. That's why Jaguar's accusations are sticking. And that's why this story isn't ending anytime soon. So, where does this leave us? What really happened behind the closed doors of Diddy's empire? And why did 50 Cent walk away untouched while the rest of the world watches the chaos unfold? Are we supposed to believe it was just timing, coincidence, or clever editing? Or is there something far bigger, far darker, and far more calculated at play? a network of power, influence, and secrets that only a few dare to expose. Jaguar Wright is telling us the truth, the full truth that Netflix and their carefully curated narrative refuse to show. And if she's right, we're all just spectators watching a story that was manipulated from the top down? With 50 Cent somehow sidestepping the storm. So here's the question for you. Do you think the real scandal will ever see the light of day? Are we being fed fragments of a story designed to protect the powerful while hiding the truth? And if 50 Cent really was on that true list, what does that say about the industry, the culture, and the people we thought we knew? If you want to keep digging, uncovering, and watching the story unfold in real time, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay on top of every explosive reveal. Because trust me, this is far from over.